Hello everyone, and welcome to my top 15 Final Fantasy VII boss ranking, ranked easiest to hardest. I had initially planned on doing all of them, but there are so many bosses in the game that I had no relevant commentary for because of how easy they are to deal with. I love this game, but it does have a bit of a scaling issue, resulting in some bosses being way too hard or way too easy for where they are in the game. I did this playthrough with no summons, no grinding, and no exploits, starting from easiest and ending with the hardest. If you don't use his undead exploit of curatives and to insta-kill him with a Phoenix down, he does have some difficulty. Cosmo Canyon in general is a pretty decent difficulty spike, and those spider enemies leading up to the boss can deal massive damage to you. Gin attack is accompanied by these fire spawns that will possess your characters and cast fire 2 on them over time. I beat the fight by consistently having Tifa standing by to use heals while Cloud and Red were on DPS. A tier. I'm not sure why the audio kept going out in my playthrough, but apologies for the boss fight music being silent. Anyways, I love Wutai. It is one of the best optional areas in any Final Fantasy game. This boss is thrown at you when Don Corneo captures Yuffie and Elena, and I think it was a great way to present this boss because the last boss that Don threw at you was piss easy, so your guard will most likely be all the way down when this fight starts. I would consider Raps a glass cannon as he goes down really quick, but Arrow 3 can absolutely demolish your health bars. B tier. At this point of the game, you're probably tired of fighting these guys, but this is the best fight of theirs. Elena is a nice addition to the fight, and she has this interesting mechanic of switching to the back row when she takes heavy damage, which as I am writing this script, I notice that you get the long-range materia in the Mithril Cave when you first meet her, which helps you continue the assault at full damage when equipped. Not sure if that was intentional, but I thought it was interesting. They do a lot of damage but share the same health, as in once you beat one, they're all done, so keep walloping Elena until they retreat. S tier. The difficulty of this fight is more about tracking down the weapon and it being a bit of a chore to continuously fight it until it's ready for the final confrontation above Cosmo Canyon. The fight itself is a lot less imposing as it was when you first fought it in Medial, but it still can wipe you if you're not staying on top of it. If you did well with damaging it when it's running all over the place, that damage will carry over to the final fight with him, which is a neat mechanic. He'll close out of the fight with a Shadow Flare, and if you're lucky, it will hit the character holding the enemy skill materia. A tier. I do not like this fight. It's always been the fight that I can't get excited for because it's just so tedious. I forget what to do every time I get to this fight and usually have to waste some time attacking the main body before I realize I have to attack the arms first to make the core vulnerable. Once you destroy the core, he won't be able to heal himself anymore, which is awesome. You absolutely can beat him by DPSing the main body, but I was only like level 50, so it would have taken an absurd amount of time to do that. The idea of switching sides to use other party members is great, but it doesn't make you do that as the other arm is accessible from the side that you're fighting from, so there's really no point in doing it. D tier. This is such an interesting fight to place because you absolutely will get bodied by Beta if you try to fight it after leaving Midgar, so I recommend going back after getting the Tiny Bronco. You should be close to its level 26 scaling around that time of the game, but I still continue to die over and over again from Beta, so I think that it's scaled with the game. I haven't seen another enemy do that, but it did significantly more damage than early game. Anyways, this may take a few tries if you are appropriately leveled, but you will never get a game over screen because it swipes characters out of the fight. B tier. I remember being really intimidated by this boss when I was younger. The idea of incapacitating one of your characters while the other two try to free them adds some intensity to the fight. Now I can never figure out how to free them, so I waited to cast life on them once they're knocked out. The bosses are getting really strong at this point, but so are you. so you should be able to cut through its high health pool in no time. A tier. The Temple of the Ancients is one of the greatest difficulty spikes in all of the Final Fantasy games. If you don't have something with fire defense on at least one of your characters, you are cooked. I also was not using Aerith at all after Midgar, so she was significantly weaker than the other two characters, which resulted in her getting knocked out a lot during these two fights. I also did not have the revive materia and came in with only 3 Phoenix down, so I felt really unprepared for this area. The dragon does massive damage and can literally one-shot your characters in the back row if they don't have more than 1000 HP. This fight triggers after an iconic sequence with Sephiroth and has a great environment. A tier. This is probably my favorite fight in the game. The reveal that Hojo is Sephiroth's dad after how much Sephiroth drags him throughout the game is both funny and disturbing. Hojo has always presented himself as having a screw loose, but he must have taken the chance with injecting himself with Genova cells, thinking that the Earth was getting destroyed in a few days, and, well, might as well. The only actual Phase 3 fight in the game, and I would describe this as a status ailment hell. If you have sleep-resistant equipment, that is probably the most important thing to defend yourself against. Cloud having counterattacks shine through because you have a chance to counter every attack in the combo in the 3rd phase. S tier. I love the lead up to this fight. As I stated before, I love Wutai. Some of the best world building in any of the areas in the game, and the OST is 10 out of 10. Anyways, this fight took me 11 minutes to beat. His auto cure mechanic makes it take a long time to continue to damage him. I use Aqua Lung from Genova Life as it does very decent damage on him. He will cast Mini on you unless you have something resistant to it equipped, so I wasn't able to use my limit breaks for like the last 5 or 6 minutes of the fight. Be careful to never be lower than 900 or 1000 HP as it uses Trine and Demi 3, which can kill you if he immediately follows up with another attack. This is the most challenging solo fight in the game. S tier. This fight is so freaking obnoxious. Having Reno's standard attack cause confusion was such a pain in the ass to deal with. This is by far the most trouble I had with the Turks in this game, which kind of trivialized any of their fights past this, even though this was side content. Absolutely be sure to grab the 2x cut materia from the other room and equip it to Cloud before you engage in this boss fight. This is probably the most knockouts I had in any of the bosses in the game, and Reno constantly casting Confuse made them kill each other over and over again. At least Rude did me a solid by sitting there and let me slap the crap out of him. D tier. I remember having a lot of anxiety about unlocking this safe when I was really young. It would take me several tries to do so. This fight is a challenging boss fight, especially if you fight him appropriately leveled as soon as you get to Nibelheim. He has this interesting mechanic of his 2nd phase being either magic or physically focused based on what kind of damage you do to him in the 1st phase. His magic damage is punishing, but it is still recommended to start with magic and transition to physical damage later so you can use your limit breaks and shorten the 2nd phase. This is one of those bosses that can present a challenge at any character level, so be prepared to heal every turn. A tier. As I stated before, I was severely unprepared for the Temple of the Ancients, which only became more evident when I hit a wall. A demon wall, to be specific. I went in with full limit breaks and used Seal Evil, but for some reason it didn't work to stop him, which was odd. Make sure everyone is in the back row because he does ridiculous damage and will probably wipe your entire party with Demon Rush if they're not. I personally think I got lucky with some of the attacks I got on this playthrough, as it could have been worse. But amazing presentation to end out one of the best dungeons in the game. S tier. Safer Sephiroth is one of the most iconic boss fights of all time, and this fight has quite a bit of difficulty at lower levels. I've heard he scales based on a few factors of how you fought the previous fights, which I think is a great way to reward those who want more difficulty on subsequent playthroughs. With that being said, I think he is balanced really well considering he is the final fight and I only have two criticisms for it. Firstly, as I don't love the Bizarro fight, having to fight him again if you lose to Saber Sephiroth sucks and diminishes from the final fight a bit. Secondly, as awesome as it is the first time, his supernova attack is a little excessive and you might as well go on a bathroom break or get a drink while you're waiting for it to hit you. He's got a massive health pool, so this will take you some time, but it is a rewarding final boss and it does feel like you're fighting a man ascending to godhood. S tier. This fight has no business being as tough as it is. The attack frequency with the two heads is relentless with an alternating ice and fire damage. This is the only fight in the entire game that I had to analyze my build and switch things around because Barrett had the fire armlet on, but his survivability is non-existent because of how he was just getting bullied the entire fight. I switched it over to Cloud and he had a better time managing the damage, but that could have just been luck. And as a final FU after beating the fight, it closes out with a Comet type attack that can wipe your entire party if you don't have your HP topped off. If it wasn't for the presentation of the boss and the mechanics at least being cool idea on paper, I would have rated this so much lower, C tier. Well, that's going to do it for my ranking of the Final Fantasy VII bosses. Next on my list is going back to the Demon Souls remake and ranking those bosses. I will most likely be alternating between Souls games or Souls-likes and Final Fantasy games for the foreseeable future. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.